In this week's Jaunts with John T, I continue my quest to visit every major league ballpark in the country and one in Canada. This week I'm in Southern California to determine which of the Los Angeles area stadiums is best. Dodger Stadium in LA or Angel Stadium in Anaheim. Howdy, and welcome to Jaunts with John T. I am John T, and this week we are continuing my bucket list quest to visit every major league ballpark in the country and one in Canada. Now this week we are going to be visiting two stadiums in the Los Angeles area. We're going to be visiting Dodger Stadium, the home of the Los Angeles Dodgers, as well as this Angel Stadium, home of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Now I will not be only visiting every one of these stadiums, but I will also be rating them, and I'll be rating them in 6 different categories: historical significance, location, overall aesthetics, both exterior and interior, food and merchandise, the overall game viewing experience, and finally, overall vibe. And what I hope to do is that by the end of this season, I will be able to tell you what I think is the best stadium in the entire Western Division, and a little bit later, I will tell you what you can do to help make that happen. Now we'll be visiting Angel Stadium here a little bit later, but first, let's head out to Dodger Stadium. After 68 seasons in Brooklyn, Dodgers owner and president Walter O'Malley moved the franchise to Los Angeles before the 1958 season. The teams played their first 4 seasons in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum before moving to the newly built Dodger Stadium in 1962. Dodger Stadium was constructed in the Elysian Park neighborhood of Los Angeles in an area known as Chavez Ravine. Chavez Ravine was home to a poor yet vibrant and cohesive Hispanic community when the city purchased the land in the early 1950s using eminent domain. I won't get into a lot of detail here, but it was an ugly period in the history of the city, and if you're interested, you can learn more by looking up the Battle of Chavez Ravine. Dodger Stadium was the first major league ballpark stadium since the initial construction of the original Yankee Stadium to be built using 100% private financing, and was the last until Oracle Park in San Francisco opened in 2000. Dodger Stadium opened in 1962, making it the oldest major league ballpark west of the Mississippi and the 3rd oldest overall behind Fenway and Wrigley Field. So here at Dodger Stadium, they have something called go-ahead entry, which basically allows you to just walk in, and it uses face recognition, and you sign up for it on the MLB app, and then it just, I'm not sure if I'll be able to use it at some of the other ballparks I go to, we'll see, but I'll be looking for the go-ahead entry. I went ahead and signed up for it, so I'll just walk in with my face, I guess. Thank you so much. Pretty cool. They have a statue here for the great Jackie Robinson, who was, of course, the first African-American player to play in the regular major leagues as opposed to the black leagues. And of course he played for the Dodgers, obviously. So as I mentioned in the history of Dodger Stadium, they did multiple renovations, and when they did a lot of the renovations, what they did was they moved where you enter into the stadium, quote unquote enter into the stadium, kind of further back, which opened up these outdoor areas for you to be able to kind of mill around and that sort of thing. And I'm not sure what this particular area I'm at now is called. It's basically center field entrance. But it's really nice. It's very well, it's a very pleasant area. They got music playing, and it's really nice. It was the late, great Tommy Lasorda who coined the term blue heaven on earth in reference to Dodger Stadium. And speaking of the late, great Tommy Lasorda, here is a tribute to the man himself in the form of a gigantic bobblehead. It's a tribute to Sandy Koufax, the great Brooklyn Dodgers pitcher. So when I choose what day to come to a game, I base it solely on what is most convenient for my schedule. Also, I don't, care about promotions and things like that. And it just so happens that today they had a promotion for a gold team jersey, which is pretty cool. And also, if it gets cooler later on, because this is a night game, who knows, maybe I'll use that jersey to keep warm. I'm having so much fun hanging out outside here, I'm completely ignoring the fact that I always like to be in my seat for first pitch. And so I guess I better go find my seat. This is the Super Dodger Dog. I mean, Dodger Stadium, you gotta go for the Dodger Dog. And gonna check out and see if it's any good. The Super Dodger Dog is a long hot dog. Not a foot long, but it's long. So let's hopefully, I'll be able to do this without getting mustard all over myself. So let's see. Definitely a beef hot dog. For what that's worth. It tastes like it's grilled. Take another bite. Yeah, that's very disappointing. Dodger Stadium is supposed to be known for their Dodger dogs, and that's not a very good hot dog. The hot dog itself is almost tastes stale. It's like very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it doesn't have many, you want a hot dog to have like snap and then kind of give. It's kind of solid all the way through. Bun is kind of thin. Not particularly good. Gotta say, not a great hot dog. Disappointing. This is definitely I believe this is the main team store, and this is pretty small. The last time I was here, I seem to remember it almost looked like it was a temporary structure, like a tent. So this is different from that, but this is not a very big team store. I'm happy to report that this is not the main team store, because that would be pretty disappointing, because that was a very small store. I was given directions on where to go for the main store. Apparently I have to exit on the other side, which seems a bit silly, but hey, whatever. Anyway, so the young lady gave me directions and told me where to go. Take an elevator to the 7th floor and then escalators to the 9th floor. So I guess the main team store is at the very top of the stadium. I have to go up there anyway to take a look around, so that'll work out well. So, by the way, it's getting a little cool, so I put on my free jersey that I got. It's actually fine, but what the heck, might as well put it on. And the fans at Dodger Stadium have a reputation for leaving before the game is over. And in their defense, it's to beat the traffic, because the traffic is very bad. And let me tell you, just had the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers didn't score. Dodgers are currently leading the Padres 3-1. It's the top of the 9th now. And I mean, it was packed. This stadium was pretty much sold out, it looked like. Looks like about 2/3 full now. My guy Will Smith, whose shirt I'm wearing, well, I never heard of before tonight. I heard of another Will Smith, but not this Will Smith. Anyway, just came in as a pinch hitter. So there you go. I got to see him play. So Will Smith, this shirt I have on, just hit a game-ending home run. I think that was a man on. I think. Anyway, he won the game. Okay, let's rate and rank Dodger Stadium. Location is a tough one. It's nicely integrated into the surrounding area with the hills and everything that surround the stadium, but it's not exactly what I would call an urban setting. I suppose it sort of is an urban setting today, but honestly, I think when it was built, I suspect that the area was considered almost a suburb of Los Angeles. At any rate, it's definitely not downtown Los Angeles. It's not a convenient area to get to, and you have to drive through downtown Los Angeles to get there, and often you have to drive through horrendous traffic. There is a nearby freeway, but honestly, the freeway can be even more backed up than the side streets a lot of the time. To give you an example, I drove 14 miles from where I was to get to Dodger Stadium, and it took me over an hour to get there. Now that said, they do have plenty of parking. There really isn't any convenient public transportation. There is a train station a couple of miles away, and there is even a dedicated bus that will take you from the train station to the stadium, but honestly, I didn't see anybody using it. I suppose some people do. And you would still have to be dealing with the traffic, you'd just be dealing it in a bus. Overall, I'm going to give it a 4 for location. The stadium is very historically significant. It's the oldest stadium, like I said, west of the Mississippi, and it is also the third oldest stadium in all of Major League Baseball. It's also the homes of one of the first teams to venture west from the East Coast. I'm going to give it a 9 for historical significance. In terms of aesthetics, the stadium has a very cool mid-century vibe that they really lean into. The shape of the iconic butterfly roof that you see over the bleachers is reflected throughout the stadium in the signage and even the Jumbotron. In addition, they make great use of the terrific Southern California weather with some really beautiful outdoor spaces. In recent renovations, they actually took the ticket takers and moved them further away from the stadium itself, which allowed them to open it up and provide more outdoor green spaces that give it a really lovely open and airy feeling. Considering its age, it's a surprisingly attractive stadium. Not up there with some of the newer, really beautiful stadiums, but it's still very nice. I'm giving it a 3.5 for exterior and a 4 for interior aesthetics for a total of 7.5. For food, it looked like they had a really good selection. The interior hallways had what looked like pretty standard food vendors, and then you had these wonderful exterior areas with additional food vendors. That said, the hot dog was not good. In fact, I would have to say that it was the worst hot dog that I've had so far in any Major League stadium. I was later told by a friend of mine that they actually changed the vendor that they used for their hot dogs. The previous vendor was Farmer John, and if you don't live in Southern California, you may not know that name, but they're a local provider of high-quality pork products in the Southern California area. But I'm not going to really ding them too much for that. It's possible I even got a bad one, and that the hot dogs usually are pretty good. The merchandise selection was okay. They did have some Brooklyn Dodger merchandise, which is pretty cool, I guess. Other than that, the merchandise selection was frankly pretty run-of-the-mill. They didn't have any merchandise specific to the stadium, which frankly I don't really expect anymore, which is really a shame because they could have done something really cool, kind of leaning into that mid-century aesthetic with the hexagon shapes and that sort of thing. Frankly, a missed opportunity in my book. Plus, the main team store was frankly way out of the way. You had to go up stairs and elevators and all kinds of stuff to get to it. It seemed like a long way to go to get to the team store. I'm giving them a 3.5 for food and a 3 for merchandise for a total of 6.5 for food and merchandise. The game viewing experience seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. Now, personally, I prefer field level seats. I assume most people do, but in the case of Dodger Stadium, I'm not sure that I'd recommend sitting at the field level. Now, for one thing, from where I sat, I didn't really have a very good view of the scoreboard at all. And on top of that, the way the seats were angled, they were angled more directly straight ahead. They weren't like angled in towards the infield, which a lot of stadiums do. And the result was you really had to kind of turn over and crane your neck in order to be able to look directly in the infield area. Now that said, from what I could tell, the views from the upper areas seemed to be actually, frankly, superior views. And also they did do kind of fun, cool things with the lights when the Dodgers would hit a home run or at the end when they won the game, so that was kind of fun. Still, I'm going to give them a 5 for game viewing experience. Now, in terms of overall vibe, I'm going to give my usual caveat that the vibe can change dramatically from one game to another, but let me tell you, the joint was jumping. Now, granted, this was a game where they were playing their crosstown rivals from the South, so everybody was really excited, and there was a lot of fun banter going on between some of the San Diego fans, who there were a good number of them there, and the Dodger fans, so that always makes it a lot more fun. I do have to take away a point for the fact that so many people left early. There is no excuse for that. Don't leave early. Excuse me while I go on a bit of a rant here, but the fact is that this is not football where you can run out the clock. This is baseball. The game is not over until the winning team gets 27 outs. Period. There is no clock. And this game was a perfect example of that. A lot of people left after the 8th inning when the Dodgers were ahead 3-1. Now that's not a huge lead. And sure enough, in the top of the 9th inning, what happened? The Padres came back and tied up the game. And if that weren't enough, they bring in their catcher, Mike Smith, as a pinch hitter. And what does he do? He gets a game-winning home run. And all of those people that left early, they missed it. And I'll tell you something. I stayed for the whole game. And yes, I left. I was parked there in the parking lot, and I left and I dealt with the traffic, and it wasn't that bad. It took me about 15 minutes to get out of the parking lot, and I'll tell you, I've been to Yankee games and I've been to other games in other stadiums where it took me longer to get out of the parking lot. So I'm sorry, no excuse. Stay until the game is over. All right, my rant is now over. Anyway, I'm going to give them an 8 for overall vibe, which gives them a total of 41 and puts them here in the rankings just ahead of Coors Field. All right, before we move on to Angel Stadium, I have got a favor to ask you. I am really hoping that this season I can complete the entire Western Division, and therefore I can tell you definitively what is the best Major League Baseball park in the entire Western Division. Well, at least according to me. And if that's something that you'd like to see me do, if you'd like to see every stadium in the Western Division covered this season, well then there's something that you can do to help. The first thing you can do is like this video. I have to assume that you like it if you still are watching at this point, so please go ahead and give us a like. That really does help us out. On top of that, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. What do you think of my ranking? Do you think I'm full of it? How do you think Dodger Stadium compares against some of the newer stadiums? I'd really like to hear. Also, if you have any friends who are baseball fans, why don't you go ahead and send them a link to this video so they can check it out as well. But the most important thing that you can do, the thing that can help us absolutely the most, is to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. And all it takes is one click. That's all I'm asking. One click to subscribe to the channel. Well, okay, 2 clicks, because you can also click the bell, because that way you'll be notified of future videos. And if you do that, that is going to help send the message to me that people are really enjoying these videos, and that'll motivate me to get out there and make sure that I get to every single one of these MLB stadiums in the Western Division this season. All right, with that, let's move on to Angel Stadium. In 1960, when Major League Baseball announced plans to add an expansion team to Los Angeles, actor, singer, and entrepreneur Gene Autry, yes, that Gene Autry, of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer fame, who had once declined the opportunity to play minor league baseball, expressed an interest in purchasing the broadcast rights to the team's games. Baseball executives were so impressed by his approach that he was persuaded to become the team's owner instead of simply its broadcast partner. The team, initially called the Los Angeles Angels upon its 1961 debut, moved to suburban Anaheim in 1966 and was renamed the California Angels. Then they were called the Anaheim Angels from 1997 until 2005, when the team became the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Angels were part of a 1961 expansion which included the Washington Senators, now the Texas Rangers. The Angels spent their first season playing in Wrigley Field in Los Angeles and the next 4 seasons in Dodger Stadium. They then moved to their permanent home in Anaheim upon the stadium's completion in 1966. Angels Stadium has hosted many events outside of Angels games. Most notably, they hosted NFL's Los Angeles Rams from 1980 until 1995. In 1996, the Walt Disney Company acquired a controlling interest in the Angels, and the stadium underwent a major renovation, which included a new facade and a rock fountain in center field. In 1998, the stadium was renamed Edison International Field, And in 2003, Edison International exercised this option to end the deal, and the stadium's name was reverted to Angel Stadium. Currently, the stadium is owned by the city of Anaheim, while the team is owned by Arturo Moreno, who purchased the team in 2003. One thing I've never mentioned about these games that I go to is that I always like to be in my seat for the first pitch, and I always stay to see the entire game. They don't do as much with the outside spaces as they do at Dodger Stadium, but they still make use of the fact that the weather here is usually very nice, and they can leave things fairly open. This is nice, totally open to the outside. And yet it is somewhat covered. So in the unlikely event here in Southern California that it's raining, you're going to be covered. But yeah, this is what you want in Southern California. You want it nice, open to the outside. This is very good. They have this exterior area here. Kind of backlit, you might have a hard time seeing it, but there's a pizza place here and cookies, a little cookie thing, nachos over there. It's a nice big open space, but they really don't use it that much. It is an entrance, I guess, so it looks like people are entering from here, so maybe that's why, but it feels like they could put more here. They could put food trucks here or something, and it would be very nice, but there's really not much here. Well, I got myself an Angel Dog, which is a Hoppy hot dog. I don't really know much about Hoppy hot dogs, except they mention a brand name, so that gives me hope that it's a decent hot dog. So let's go check it out. Okay, that's a pretty good hot dog. I've had better, but I've had much worse, like at Dodger Stadium. It's the hot dog itself doesn't have a lot of snap, which is unfortunate, but the texture is pretty good, and the flavor is very good. It's got a really nice flavor to it. The bun is soft and tastes pretty fresh, so that's good. And they had mustard, relish, and they even had onions in little cups at the counter. So yeah, definitely good hot dog and good grade on the hot dog. This is the section that is right under the Jumbotron, as you can see clearly, and next to the rock fixture, which I should have looked up to see what it's called. It has a name. I know it has a name. Can't think of what it is. That's out here in the center field. This was installed in the rehab that the Disney company did when they bought the Angels in the 90s. And here is the back side of the that big fountain, and they do have water going, so I don't know if they just turned it on or if because it looks like it's on in the front as well, so maybe they just turned it on. I don't know, but it wasn't on before. Okay, let's rate and rank Angel Stadium. Now, before I talk about location, I've been thinking that there really are two things that I judge location on that are kind of mutually exclusive. That being having ample parking and having an urban location. You really can't have both of those things at the same time. So from now on, I'm going to rate them on whether they have one or the other, but I'm not going to necessarily take any points away if they do have one but don't have the other. Now, in the case of Angel Stadium, they have ample parking, and frankly, getting in and out of the parking was a breeze. But Of course, it's not an urban location. On the other hand, the stadium itself, as well as the iconic Big A, are both very visible from the freeway, and let's face it, you can't get more Southern California than that. And the surrounding area, of course, has a lot to offer, including restaurants and theaters and shopping, and of course, Disneyland. I'm giving Angel Stadium an 8 for location. In terms of historical significance, the stadium is simply not very historically significant. I guess the building of any stadium has some historical significance, but in this case, I'm going to give them a 4 for historical significance. In terms of exterior aesthetics, the front facade has a very 90s Disney vibe to it. It's got these giant baseball caps, and even the big tan facade has this very 90s feel to it. This of course makes sense because the most recent major renovation of the stadium was in the 1990s, and it was done under Disney. The rest of the exterior looks oddly unfinished. More on that in a minute. The interior is very nice, and the rock formation fountain is a nice touch. Again, very Disney. The interior hallways are really nice, very open and airy, and they make excellent use of the terrific weather that you get in Southern California. I actually think that this is a contributing factor to why the exterior kind of looked unfinished, because all of those interior hallways are all open to the outside. I'm giving them a 4 for interior and a 3.5 for exterior aesthetics for a total of 7.5. The food selection was very good, with plenty of options to choose from, including additional options located in some of the outside areas. They also had this area underneath the Jumbotron that served food and beverages as well, which was very unique. And the hot dog was pretty good. Not great, but not bad. The merchandise selection was pretty run-of-the-mill. The selection was okay, but there was nothing that was really unique and that really spoke to the Anaheim fandom. And again, there was nothing showing off the stadium. Why don't we have merchandise featuring the iconic Big A? That's another missed opportunity, if you ask me. They get a 4 for food and a 2.5 for merchandise, for a total of 6.5 for food and merchandise. The game viewing experience was very good. The field level seats where I was were angled nicely towards the infield, which makes viewing the infield a lot easier. They also shot off fireworks at key moments and had flames and things like that, which was very unique and again, very Disney. The view of the Jumbotron and the scoreboard seemed to be very good from wherever you sat in the stadium. In general, the view from the upper levels also looked really good. The only complaint I had was that they didn't have any platforms in the upper decks where you could just stand and watch the game from some of the upper levels. That is something that most stadiums have, and I noticed was lacking at Angel Stadium. Still, I'm going to give them an 8.5 for game viewing experience. In terms of vibe, this particular game was against Boston, and there were a lot of Red Sox fans there, which always makes the game a little bit more fun. Regardless, the vibe was very good. The fans were really into it, and very few of them left early. I'm looking at you, Dodgers fans. I'm giving them an 8 for overall vibe. That gives Angel Stadium a 42.5 overall, placing them here in the Western Division rankings in 3rd place, right below T-Mobile Park in Seattle. That also means that in my battle of the Los Angeles area Major League Baseball stadiums, Angel Stadium comes out on top. Well, that is going to do it for this week's Just with John T. We've really enjoyed, or I should say, I really enjoyed going to Dodger Stadium as well as Angel Stadium, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to give us a like. Now here at Jaunts with John T, we go on jaunts around the world, around the country, around the state, around the city, and sometimes just around the house. So if that sounds like fun to you, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you want to see more of my videos about my bucket list to see every major ballpark in the country, then just click here. That's gonna do it. I am John T, and until I can figure out a better sign off, thanks for watching.